So today is the aftermath of my daughter's birthday party, so I'm kind of tired. We had a late night. It was what? We had a big screen outside for a K-pop Demon Hunters theme party, and I made a lot of food for it. It took 2 days worth of cooking, and definitely higher oil, higher salt. So this came at a good time because I'm kind of wanting to do it. But either way, I got two large watermelons and I'm really hoping they're delicious. And I'm just gonna make a meal of that today and see how it goes. I've never done fruit only. I mean, I've fasted for days before, so no food. I've done potatoes only before, but I've never strictly done just fruit of any kind. So I thought watermelon, while we're at the tail end of the season, is probably good. As far as costs go, it's been under $5 per large watermelon all summer long. It's just now increased to just above $5, so it kind of gives you an idea of cost-wise how it could be. Had I picked bananas, it would have been super cheap. So as far as how much it would cost, I guess I'll do that kind of calculation at the end of it, but we'll see how I feel. It should I've usually never been, I mean, watermelon can get you full really fast, but I feel like I've been better about practicing how much to get in. So I'm just gonna eat when I'm hungry, and I'm going to expect to be urinating all day long, needing to visit the bathroom because it's very high water content. So like I said, it's a good day for it because it's the day before I do some teaching tomorrow. I have to be at home anyways, prepping, taking care of the kids. You can kind of start to hear them. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know if you can tell, but both of my watermelons ended up being like this. While I can stomach eating maybe a little bit, I don't know. I guess we'll see, but I have a feeling we're gonna call this a fail of a day. It really isn't watermelon season, I guess, anymore. So maybe I'll try with bananas, or I'm getting a big box of dates maybe delivered today. Who knows? Maybe I can try and do it tomorrow. So we're gonna try and make it a fruit day. So I've got my normal nice cream, maybe a little bit more banana, no dates because I ran out yesterday. But for some texture, since I don't have my normal carrots, I just added a sliced banana. So here's nice cream number 2, and totally forgot that I could use shredded apple to replace my carrot that I usually eat this with. I don't know if this will be enough for the night or evening because it's still pretty early when I felt hungry for this. So we'll see, and hopefully my box of dates gets in tonight. So I had mentioned I would be showing you the successes as well as the failures, although is it a failure? I still ended up having a very fruity day, and that was a positive. And what I've learned is unless it's the right season for a particular kind of fruit and it's at its peak and it looks awesome, I don't think it's going to, and I'm not enticed in doing just one fruit. Like, I just don't feel good enough to be limited by just that, because if I have a whole tray of peaches and they look amazing, but then I see that I got my box of dates in and they look juicy and I want those, like, why would I limit myself except for to do this experiment? So there's that. But either way, I figured I would go into the cost breakdown. And I will say that it is so much cheaper to do a mono fruit day, depending on the fruit that you're doing, than any of the other options I've done so far. So assuming I had done watermelon, I'm gonna say it was about $10 for the two. It was cheaper maybe a month ago and it's a little more expensive now. So I'm just gonna round it to $10 for the day. And that would be $300 for the month for just me, and $1,800 if I were to have my 6 or family of 6 eat that as well. Bananas, however, would be a lot cheaper. Let's approximate that it would have cost me about $6 for the day for bananas only. And then that would be $180 for the month for me and $1,080 for a family of 6. So this one is interesting because this is around the same price and maybe even a little bit cheaper depending on the month of what I actually spend for the food that I budget for now. And honestly, it's not like I budget, I just know how much I spend on food. And then I just received a box of dates. For the box of dates, that was about $60 for the 11 pounds that I got, which means it would put me at about $10.36 a day, and it would be $310 for the month for me, and that would come out to about $1,865 for the month for my family of 6. Now here's the other cost that I am not talking about. This is all assuming that all the food that you had purchased is in good quality condition. And I will say, the watermelon I bought, that was a lost cost. Like, I spent that money and I couldn't even eat it. I'm trying to salvage it by dehydrating it, feeding it to the wildlife, composting it. But realistically, it's $10 that I just spent on something that I couldn't even really eat. I could eat some of it, but not most of it. Bananas would be the only thing that I could realistically do that I feel like would work, because you can see when it's ripe. The dates I bought, that seems like that could have been practical, but turns out the shipping was late on it, and while the dates would normally be delicious and everything, and I will still eat them, they came out fermented. I received the box and the box was fermented. I mentioned this online already, but you just never know what the condition of fresh foods are going to be. And that's kind of why they're so good, right? I mean, fresh food is going to go bad. And we all know that the stuff that can stay stable on the shelf for months and years on end, that's the stuff that's not health promoting, right? So that is the cost of trying to get fresh foods and trying to figure out and cycle in your fresh foods so that you've got a good supply at all times, is something you kind of have to learn over time. So the time cost in all of this, realistically, I would be spending far less time just eating bananas all day long, assuming I'm not making nice creams or having to freeze them or prep them. If I just ate a bunch at each meal, it would be so fast, it would be so easy. So realistically, mono fruit would be easy enough. The inconvenient part, and I said this when it came to just my fruit only day, and of course I had a fruit only day, you need to use the restroom so much more regularly because you are eating a lot of water-rich foods. And if you're not used to it, you might use the restroom a lot more. Of course, I think that the salty dinners that I have, or saltier, probably contributes to that a little bit. So the next morning when I'm eating all this potassium-rich fruit, it probably tries to balance itself out, which is why I have to go to the bathroom a lot more. As far as how did it impact my family? Well, I don't think it impacted them at all. They hardly noticed. It's not a big deal. Mom already eats a lot of fruit as it is. But when it came to dinner time, honestly, it was me who felt the impact of that a little bit more. I felt a little more disconnected with my family at mealtime. I mean, I'm making it, I'm prepping it, and I'm serving it to all of them. But there's a disconnect when I don't get to join them for the meal and I'm just sitting there with my room temp or cold fruit meal. And I just feel like there's not necessarily a reason for me to be eating a meal that's separate from them unless I've got specific health goals in mind or I'm doing a challenge like is what I was doing here. I feel like sometimes it's easy to get sucked into the diet dogma. If you feel that you need to be eating a separate meal from your family, then maybe you're not feeding the family well enough or you're too off in the deep end. It could go either way. Obviously, that's not the case for everybody, but that's something I don't want to get into when I have a history of that kind of, issues around food in the past. And I do find it's a lot easier if I'm going to be doing something like making meals that are maybe a little more rich in fats for my family. It's easier to do that with starch-based meals at night. So the raw till 4 thing or fruit till 4, it's honestly now sounding like an easier lifestyle now that I've gone to the other extremes of raw or fruit only. I do think getting into the mono fruit meals or even just fruit meals as a general thing, it's almost like you have to grow into it. Just like with a lot of other things, you have to slowly ease into that. Like I didn't eat fruit breakfast for the longest time consistently. It started with a breakfast of fruit here or there, and then it turned into almost every time. And then I didn't go straight into eating 2 meals of fruit every day. It was fruit for breakfast and sometimes fruit for lunch. And now I do it more consistently. I do both more consistently. And eventually you kind of build up to that and you just have a better idea of how much fruit it is that you need before you're too hungry for the end of the day. Like you have to build up to it because it's such a change. So one day, maybe you'll see me eating more fruit days, and that'll just increase over time. But for now, I don't see starch meals leaving my menu anytime soon. So if you've done a mono fruit day and you were more successful than I was, please let me know in the comments what fruit it is that you did this with. I know Fruit Kid did an all apples day, and I commend him because apples, I just cannot do it. I can hardly eat one of my big Honeycrisp apples. I get halfway through and I feel about done. So kudos to him, and I know he's experimented a lot, and I give kudos to all those people who have done, a year of only one kind of fruit, but I'm not there yet.